to be like an inch thick, and with the bottom section, this is a good amount of length. Once you get wider in the head, I would split it into two. So if you see right now, I'm pinching the hair in the middle. And the best way to start it, so this is 30 volume. I got a new bleach. It's the Synchro bleach we're trying out for the first time. It's supposed to be the best bleach. It doesn't swell. I've noticed all the other bleaches we have, they swell. You want a stiff brush, and how you want to go about it is straightforward. We're used to painting like this. When you're doing highlights, you're painting straight down, like straight vertically down. Pinch it tight, hold it, what is this, 45 degrees? Yeah. I don't know angles. Yeah, 45
Am I walking,
degrees.
you guys?
No, it's actually better. I like watching.
And I always find the best control is you start in the middle of the hair shaft. So mid shaft, paint, then go up to the top. Like that. Put it over your hand, paint down, all the way down. Now you could
People
do
use
it.
boards, right?
Yes, I find it's one extra step, and balayage takes a long time. So, because you have to be a little bit more precise about it. So, I would use the back of your hand, and you want it to kind of have that blended effect. It's supposed to have that sun kiss effect. And when you go to the bottom, you're kind of breaking the line and going down and rest it down. Now the key is to it too is not having it go all the way through that section. So it's just kind of resting on top. Okay, so you don't see it back there, see? So that's how you can just leave it. Now some people put a foil in between. I don't think you have to, because especially if you're working with a bleach that doesn't swell and you're not pressing the hair down, it should be just fine. Does that make sense? Okay, so this section I'm going to split into two. The key is to being really clean.
If not, then you'll get a tiger stripe.
And I'm going to say that is something that totally does happen.
Because the section's so thick.
The section is so thick. And it's just really free-forming, and that's why I said the other day, I didn't know what mine were going to turn out as. Whatever. That's why balayage and ombre always looks better when it's some type of wave, so it's going to be really good on Alicia's hair.
How far up should you go?
Break the line
to
into
be really blonde.
You can go up more. I just don't think you necessarily have to.
Okay.
I have had experiences with that if their head is really hot, or if you put them under the heat, it can leave a little bit of a tiger stripe. I kind of feel that, especially balayage more than ombre, is trial and error. You kind of figure out what works for you. Always on the outside here, I kind of like to stand a little bit where my section is, and go a little bit on the outside, because when she wears her hair out, she's going to be able to see that little one.
Are those going to come out pretty thick, or are they going to be pretty thick?
They're going to be exactly where that bleach is.
Okay.
That's what you're going to get.
If you were using the Blondor, it might swell. Would they be a little bit thicker because that bleach swells?
One of my clients had super fine hair the other day, and I used it, the Blondor, and it got a little bit fatter. But
Yeah.
it's okay because she likes to be blonde.
Okay.
So in the back, up to what's this, occipital bone up here? Is that what it is? Whatever. The crown. I don't know bones and just paint it on.
You're right.
What, you didn't go to medical school, Nikki?
Yeah.
So then I like to switch it up. So those two sections I was doing on the side, or this one. I'm going to do it down the center, make it a little bit thicker. Go straight up.
So what are we doing on a brunette like you? Would you tone it?
Yeah, depending on what it lifts, you kind of just have to watch it. And it's never a timing thing with it. It depends on how porous the hair is, how much it's going to lift, what volume you're using. And it never comes out perfect like a foil. So that's why it's hard for people to wrap their heads around. there's nothing perfect about it, but that's the point of it. It's supposed to be like sun-kissed.
Do you, like, if you were gonna foil her, would you use 30 or would you use 20?
I would use 20 at the bottom and 30 on top. I'm a pretty fast highlighter, so I go with the higher developers.
Would you bump up your volume just because you're not, since it's gonna be out in the air, you're not putting it in a foil, so there's no heat?
Yeah, I think that's more on the consistency of the bleach that matters, because I think it'll still process. A 20 will still process normally if it's creamy enough, and it stays moist.
Okay.
So that's why putting any balayage or ombre underneath the dryer is probably not the best idea because it's going to dry it out where the heat lamps won't. Does that make sense?
It wouldn't work under the dryer anyhow, because it's like that.
It'll swell it. I did it the other day
Yeah.
because I was going to pinch and it swelled it a little bit. But thank God she was pretty heavily plunged that it was okay.
So Nikki, did you already talk about the consistency of your bleach or to glide on as easy as you are doing it?
It's you have to be very gentle. And Alicia, you can probably feel how tight I'm holding this.
Definitely looking at.
You have to hold it tight, otherwise if you have it like that, you're not gonna get that straight line.
Mm-hmm.
And also, guys, too, if you're wondering, like blending it, down at the tips down here like this, if you don't do that, especially on a brunette, it gets pretty stripy. Remember like 10 years ago, everyone had those like peekaboo highlights? That's what it'll look like, just like a highlight straight down, where I think it's supposed to have that lighter at the end sun-kissed look.
So you're fully saturated when you get to the end, for the most part?
Yeah, because they're so thin anyway, especially on Alicia's hair. I thought that wasn't meant to be.
Don't worry, no.
But, see, I'm pulling really tight. I'm pulling really tight, but painting very gently. And the consistency of the bleach is, did I already say that? It's creamy.
Creamy.
But not wet. And I'm actually, this is the first time I feel like I have the most control with my balayage using this bleach. And this is the very first time I'm using it. So
Which one are you using now?
This is the Synchro Light from Paul Mitchell, which I did some research.
And you like that it doesn't swell?
I'm really liking it. So Paige is going to do a model here soon, so we'll let you know. The thing about balayage is you can't rush it, and it takes time. So I feel like ombreing takes less time. That's why so sometimes if I'm doing a full, I'll switch to ombre because I'm running out of time, especially double booking.
You're going pretty fast. That's,
I know, I'm feeling like this is actually quicker.
yeah.
Like, say you were giving her a full highlight,
I guess it just depends on,
because you're gonna
Your
have a pretty
ability.
much effect.
yeah.
So I'm a little bit confused because I feel like what you're doing now, even though it's balayage, is ombre.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
And that is why people get so confused.
Allison, right here.
Because people are like, oh, ombre's out, ombre's out. The look of the dark and the light contrasting is out, but the whole art of ombreing and how it's done
But wouldn't you
is
say
not.
that this is a balayage technique for an ombre? Kinda?
This is balayage.
Okay.
If you were to just do straight down like that, you're going to get more of a streaky look. And the point of balayage is to give a sun-kissed effect where it's darker at the root, lighter at the ends.
I thought that was ombre.
No, it's balayage. It's both, but it's definitely balayage.
So if you were to ombre, how would you do it differently?
I'm going to show you when I get to the top section.
Okay,
I'm going to balayage the whole bottom section,
okay.
just so you guys, because it seems like that's what everybody really wanted to do, because I feel like people are more comfortable with ombreing because it's in a foil, but I feel like people are hesitant to balayage, right? Right? Yeah. I know Jenny's expressed that. So you're going to take thicker sections at the bottom until you get to the crown, because especially the bottom of the hair, you have to like see, it's supposed to mimic the sunlight, right? Or like what little girls have. They're going to be lighter down here, and you really want to see like right there, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see a highlight there, you're going to see a highlight there, you're going to see a highlight there when it's rinsed off, and that's what you want to see. So it's like you have to just really think that exactly where you're painting that hair is what you're going to see. You just can't hide as much as sometimes you can with foils. So your skill level has to be on point, and you have to feel confident in your work. But I'm not gonna lie to you, like those two I did the other day, you just don't know what they're like or how their hair's gonna process.
The one with the girls that were like going to the saddle run.
Uh-huh.
You were nervous about her hair?
I was nervous about her
Oh.
hair. I just get nervous about it because it's more free. You know what I mean? Like you just don't have as much control.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like I said, does that make sense? Like,
You know what I mean?
You know
you
what
know
I
what I
mean?
mean? Does that make sense?
Well, it's so funny that you say that because people who've been doing balayage say that they have more control because they can place their highlights wherever they want, and I don't find that to be true.
I don't find it to be true either because I'm a perfectionist and so are you, Ron. That you just want it to be so perfect, and this is something that, you know, it's like just right there, I pressed a little bit harder so it's a little bit thicker right there, so is it gonna look even? You know, like those are the types of things where it's a little different than foiling, obviously. Kate, if you have any questions?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
So since she has a side part that it always falls there.
Yep, keep it
So,
there.
yeah, so I'm not gonna do the mohawk, I'm just gonna separate.
When you
off
get
the
there,
Okay.
we'll talk.
Perfect.
And I'll be there with Alicia a little bit before you, so.
So the nightmares that I have with balayage, I guess it's because my consistency is not as smooth, because I find when I've done this, all of a sudden I get like a bleed mark.
And you will. Those two clients I did both on Saturday, there was not bleed marks, just like the blending wasn't like spot on, and that's totally normal.
What do you think from not pushing it all the way?
It's because it's exactly. And the more you do it, the more you get used to like the pushing, you know? Sometimes I find that doing this sometimes isn't blended as good. That's why I always tell my clients it's better to wear your hair curly like Alicia does, or any type of like wave to it. And that's the point of it. You never see, like most celebrities have it somewhat wave, or you know what I mean? But look at the dimension it's already gonna get. Look at that already, that you're seeing that that's what's gonna happen. But I really found that pinching it together and starting in the middle gives you the most control.
And I feel like sometimes if I push too hard and I get, you know, what you don't want to pick,
But
then
see,
I'm
it's
like,
not-
great, I have to do that now, because then it'll be like a spot.
The thing that I've really learned with balayage, and I've tried talking clients into it, you can't talk them into it, they need to want it, you know? And obviously you're gonna find it more in people that are more trendy or younger. I don't wanna like single out older women because it really, really works, but I always find that I want them to do balayage or ombre rather than me convincing them, because that's when I have not enough highlights. They're so used to the uniform highlight.
Yes.
You're not pushing it through where it's coming, like where it's coming out
The other side.
the other side.
No, you don't want it to come out the other side, because then you will absolutely get
Okay.
bleeding.
Yeah.
And then if you see when I'm like dropping it too, when I'm dropping the hair,
You're not crushing it.
I'm literally just like gently putting it down.
So the most saturation is going to be in, or maybe saturation not the right word,
No,
but
it is.
in the middle, and then you're going to basically, you know, lighter at the top and then lighter at the bottom.
Yep.
Saturating it down at the end.
In saturating down.
Let's see. No, not fully saturating it, and then so you just kind of, I just do that with my wrist. Like,
Yeah.
So you can use a highlighting board. We have a few of them. If you guys feel comfortable and want more of them, we can order them, obviously.
Way cleaner.
This bleach is really awesome, so we're definitely going to be ordering this, and this should be good for any type of freeform color.
I have two questions, Nikki.
Yes.
So obviously she has curly hair that you blew out.
Yes.
So if you had a client who had curly to wavy hair, you could still do it and just pull it taut?
Yeah, you're just gonna, it's harder.
Mm-hmm.
Or you maybe don't do as much, but I know Alicia wants to be a lot lighter. She's already told me that, and she's glad she's doing it. Okay, so right here, this section, she's got to previously highlight. I know you have a lot of questions about that. If I wanted to put a bleach there, what I would do, or a highlight right there, because I know you get a lot of confusion about this, is